Today we're going to talk about a gentleman named Jacob. Yeah. So, one day I was reading through the Bible and I realized of all the people in the Bible, Jacob might be among the most important. So, well, you thought, it was somebody else. I'm going to make my case today that Jacob's an important one. Jacob is the grandson of Abraham. And when Isaac had his twins with Rebekah, two nations, she went to ask the Lord, what's going on inside of me? And he said, 2 nations are in your womb, 2 peoples will be divided. One shall be stronger than the other. The older shall serve the younger. The older is Esau. The younger is Jacob. Okay? Isaac was 60-year-old when he had his children. You got to remember these guys lived to like 100 and something. So he's having a midlife crisis, a couple of kids. And as the boys grew up, Esau was a skillful hunter. Jacob was a quiet man, dwelling in tents. So obviously Dad had a inclination towards the hunter. Mama liked Jacob, the quiet boy. All right? It is believed in the book of Asher that, by the way, the book of Asher and the book of Enoch were both found with the Dead Sea Scrolls. Okay? In the book of Asher, it talks about how Esau killed Nimrod. And they believe he's exhausted in this upcoming story I'm about to tell you. He says, I'm exhausted, give me some food. And Jacob says, let me have your birthright. He goes, what good is my birthright if I'm about to die? Swear to me your birthright. Oh, swear to me the birthright. Swear to me some stew right now. Boom. He despised his birthright. And I just want you to see how casually I did. What good is it to me if I'm about to die from hunger and you make this flippant statement and boom, God was listening. The other day I was driving with my wife and I said, I don't want God to hear this, but, and I, obviously we know he hears all things, But, I wanted to share this, awkward, we thank God for this and it didn't come through. And so, what's up, God? Obviously, I could care less. I trust his timetables, but I thought it was funny. We didn't get struck by lightning or anything. Esau does get struck by lightning because that flippant comment is something that is now going to be put into motion. All right? And you're going to notice something also. Jacob wants something that is outside of his grasp. He wants the birthright. And what's intriguing is this was planned when the children were in the womb. Okay? I wonder how many times things are going wrong in our lives and God already knows the plan. Here's how I'm going to fix it. Here's the way I'm going to move. This is how it's going to be set up. Okay? Remember, your lives are Father filtered. He knows what's happening in your journey. One time I was in here and I'm like, man, I'm really hurting. And then I realized, wait, God knew I would be hurting. And that helped me. He knew that I would be in the sanctuary begging. And so, boom. All right. So we're moving forward here. And we got a problem. Isaac is going to die. And so he tells Esau, go make my favorite meal, bring it back, and I'm going to give you the blessing. So Mama decides to intervene. Okay, now listen. Your father's going to bless Esau, but I want you to get the blessing. So I'm going to make his favorite meal while he's out finding the game. I'm going to dress you up like your brother so that he'll smell your brother, his garments on you. We'll kind of put some little goat hair on you because, Esau's a little bit of a hairy man. And he can't see, so we should be able to pull this off. So, Jacob's name is Deceiver. And where did he get that from? Mama. You see, modern psychology goes all the way back to blaming it on Mama in, what is this, like 1800 BC. So, just so you know. He says, well, my dad's not going to fall for this. Goes, if anything happens, it's my problem, not yours, okay? So, he comes in, he goes, oh, how did you have the meal so quickly? Oh, God has been favorable to me. He goes, wow, you sound like Jacob, but you smell like Esau. Let me feel, oh yeah, that's Esau. Oh, good. And he gives him the blessing. The blessing of Abraham he gives to Jacob. And it's a powerful blessing. And so Esau comes in and he goes, Dad, I got your stuff. He goes, what do you mean? I already just blessed. And he goes, he stole my birthright, now he stole my blessing. So, now I want you to remember something. God prophesied that this was going to happen. Now, he never ordains wrong things to happen, but he will move in wrong situations to bring about his will. Just keep this in mind, because as we go in the life of Jacob, we're going to see lots of pain in his life. There's a cost that comes with being a deceiver. All right? But it's kind of wild because Isaac says, I blessed him and he will be blessed. And you are going to be his servant, because the blessing of Abraham has been given to Jacob. And so he cries, he stole my blessing. And he makes the decision, I will kill my brother when my father dies. Mama hears this. Mama says, you and your two wives, Esau, have been nothing but a headache and a heartache for me. I need to get a wife for my son from my family. So she sends Jacob to her homeland to find a wife. Okay? And this is where Jacob runs into a guy named Laban. Now, what we're going to learn about Laban is also a deceiver and a cheater and a thief. And so it comes from the family lineage. Okay, Laban and Rebekah both trying to pull off smooth moves, and it got handed down to Jacob. So anyways, Jacob is on his way to see Laban, Uncle Laban. And as he's laying down in Beersheba, he has this vision of a ladder, Jacob's ladder, where angels are coming up and down the ladder from heaven to earth. Jesus refers to this moment in John chapter 1. It's a big deal. This is a significant moment. And the Lord says to Jacob, your offspring shall all the families of the earth be blessed through. Now, isn't that what he told Abraham? Okay. I wonder why Isaac was kind of a non-important person, but he is the father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I often wondered, You know, when your dad puts you on the altar and raises a knife to kill you, offer you as a living sacrifice, I'm guessing that there would be some therapy required. There would be some trust issues. That would be PTSD. That would be one of those events in life that you never really get over. Okay? And maybe being the substitute offering almost was all his calling was about. And you know how they say baldness skips a generation? Okay? So does the blessing. So the blessing is falling upon Jacob. He gets to see this experience where God is coming down to earth, up to heaven, down to earth, up to heaven. He gets the promise, surely I will be with you and keep you wherever you go. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised. So Jacob wakes up and goes, wow, surely the Lord is in this place, and I didn't know it. This is the gate of heaven. And this is what he says, the Lord shall be my God, and I will give him a tenth. Now, I know you knew I would turn this into a tithing moment, okay? Interesting. He decides. He makes the decision, this will be my God. And he's going to follow through with, this will be the way I worship him too. I will be committed to him. Now, I think sometimes we don't always make that decision. Well, you know, I believe the Bible for the most part. And, you know, there are many ways to God. You know, in the Christian society, we come through Jesus. But in the Buddhist society, they do it in a different way. And, you know, the Islamic society, they do it that way. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but through me. And basically, you have to make a decision. I talked about this a couple days ago on my morning video. I went to do someone's dying in the hospital, and, you know, they asked for pastor. The pastor wasn't available, so the seminary student came. And I show up, and, oh, I'm glad you're here, William. I've got all my bases covered. I have my friend brought me her crystals, and I have a Jewish friend who sent me a prayer, and I have a Buddhist who's done blah, 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 and I'm a seminary student. So being politically correct is not a skill I have acquired yet. And I'm like, well, ma'am, did any of those people die on the cross for your sins? Because you're diluting the opportunity for you to get healed by inviting other avenues in. She was so offended. And she died. Not that moment, but there comes a moment when you have to make a decision. All your marbles are in Jesus' basket. He's your source of salvation. He's your source of life, eternal life, abundant, healing, guidance, empowerment, blessings. Jesus is our guy. And until he is your guy, you are thinking about becoming a Christian. I attend a Christian church. I call myself a Presbyterian. No, I'm a Christian because I believe I've had an encounter. I've received the Spirit of Jesus Christ. It's a big deal. And you're going, oh, Pastor, we've already done that. I just wanted you to know the decision matters. Well, Jacob finds this woman. Okay, right? Who is it? Rachel? And oh my gosh, he is smitten. And so Laban goes, well, you know, if you work for me for 7 years, she can be your wife. And it says 7 years were like a day because he's so in love. Okay? This guy is really smitten. And so it's time. You know, Rachel was beautiful in form and appearance. It's time for the wedding. On the wedding night, we have the big party. Everybody gets drunk. Jacob has a little too much to drink. Into the tent is brought his woman, and says it was this. In the morning, it was Leah, her sister. And so he's like, what's going on? I worked for you for 7 years for your daughter, Rachel, and you're giving me your older daughter, Leah. Well, it's the custom of our land that we can't give away the younger before the older. If you work for me another 7 years, then you can have Rachel now. Finish off, the obligation, the marriage obligation to Leah. So, first of all, Leah's life has been put into a living hell because she has been imposed upon somebody. And, guys think, oh, man, I got 2 wives. Well, one wife's pretty much hard to handle, all right? Imagine 2 competitive sisters. The one you love hates her sister because you are interfering with her heartthrob, okay? The one who's the older has to deal with being second choice, okay? And can you imagine the pettiness and the chaos and the emotions in the household? I'm suggesting that it might not have been just a happy little house. Well, the Lord knows what happened to Leah, and so he gives her a whole bunch of, it says this, when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, he opened up her womb, and she has all kinds of children. And now my husband will see me. Now, the second one, now my husband will love me. Now my husband will be attached to me. And finally she goes, I'm praising God. All the children, as much as I'm giving you your heritage, your lineage, I'm just going to enjoy the Lord. And so finally Rachel goes, give me children or I shall die. And he gets mad. I'm not God. I'm not the one who does that for you, Here, take my servant. So now, you think, wow, this guy's having an amazing life, right? He's got, 4 ladies that he gets to sleep with and have children with. And while it sounds like a great time, in real life, there's a lot of competition, there's a lot of emotions, there's a lot of pettiness, there's a lot of anger, betrayal. Finally, God remembers Rachel, opens her womb, she has Joseph. And remember when Joseph gets sold into slavery? Rachel's child, Joseph, gets sold into slavery. Leah's children sold him into slavery. Just so you can see, this is not a happy home. This is not a Brady bunch. It's more like a shady bunch. Okay? So, Jacob, he's living with Laban, and Laban is always giving him the shaft financially. Always changing his wages. Always, oh, you're being prosperous here. He takes the prosperity away. God blesses him in another way. Oh, he takes the prosperity from him that way. So the deceiver who took the birthright, who took the blessing, is having, just not the best time living in Laban's household with Mama's relatives. And finally, God says, it's time to go home. I've seen the way Laban is treating you. It's time for you to go home. So, let's go home. Problem is, remember when he left home? What is it now? 20 years, 30 years later? The last thing that Esau said, I'm going to kill him. And so he remembers that. And he sends out, hey, let him know that I'm coming home. And the word comes back, oh, Esau, he heard that you're coming home and he's coming to meet you, and there are 400 men with him. Okay? So Guess what? Jacob, this is what he says. He cries out to the Lord, didn't you tell me to go home and that you would do good to me? And I'm not worthy of all the deeds that you've done for me and your love and your care. And yet, please deliver me from the hand of my brother, for I fear him. I am afraid. Have you ever been afraid of some situation? This is exactly the prayer. Lord, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of the finances. I'm afraid of the outcome of this health situation. I'm afraid that I'm never going to conquer this sin. I'm afraid that you can fill in the blanks. There's somebody in your life you're probably afraid of. Okay? Bring it to the Lord. And here's where something really radical happened. So he's afraid, and notice what he does. You and I were called, you have a fear, hand it over to the Lord. And then what do? We hand it over to the Lord and we immediately take it back, right? Lord, I'm so scared of this, I give it to you. Okay, let me take it back. And now I'm going to get all of Rachel's family set up this way and all Leah's family set up that way. So if he attacks these people, they can flee. He's trying to strategize, trying to protect himself, trying to make the right moves. What did God tell him? I will be with you always. What did God tell him to do? Go home. I will go with you. And he's still trying his best to control, still trying to pull off the smooth move, still trying to make it happen. And I'm just telling all of you, Jesus is saying, I'll take care of you if you want. If you want to trust me, I'll bless you. I'll care for you. I'll move in your situations. And even when the outcome's not what you wanted, I'm still going to be with you. Well, he does all these moves. And he sends everybody across the river, and he stays behind. And he's left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the breaking of the day. He's all alone, and somebody shows up, and they have a fight, a wrestling match. And when the man saw that he did not prevail against Jacob, he touched his hip socket. Jacob's hip was put out of joint. And then he said, let me go, for the day has broken. And Jacob says, I will not let you go unless you bless me. Now I'm just going to tell you, I'm guessing maybe you've been in fights. Probably not. I have been. Lots of them. And when you're on the streets and you're in a fist fight, or when you're in a fight, sometimes fists, sometimes you're kicking, sometimes you're slamming to the floor, sometimes you're squeezing each other. Whatever's going on, there's also chatter that takes place. I've been the superior fighter in some situations where I'll say, come on, man, let it go. Don't make me put you down. Okay, look, I already slammed you to the floor. Don't make me do this again. Stop. And they won't stop until you really hurt them. Other times you're the one getting hurt, and it's called, what do they call it in basketball? When Larry Bird is giving you the business? Trash talking. Thank you. All the trash talking that goes on in a fight. Okay? So, there's trash talking going back here. Whoever's fighting with Jacob, whoever Jacob's fighting with, here's what we know. He says, I'm not going to let you go until you bless me. So Jacob knows he's fighting with a heavenly being. And I want to just turn it around on you. Have you ever had a sleepless night where you wrestled with God and never went to bed because you were so afraid, because you were so upset, because you were struggling so bad? Those nights, This is one of those nights for him. What was his problem? Fear. What usually keeps us up all night? Fear. Fear of the outcome. Fear of what's going to take place. Okay? Now, God's not a fair fighter. He gives him a bad hip. And here's what's cool. In the trash talking, turns out this way. I will not let you go until you bless me. He goes, what is your name? Jacob. You'll no longer be called deceiver. For you have striven with God and with men and have prevailed. Okay? Your name will now be Israel. So, I just want you to feel this. He won the battle with God and man. Now, does that mean? I think it means I won the battle with my fears. He knows he's been battling with God over the promise God gave him. He didn't accept the promise. God made stop. You're not moving forward. You're not going back to the promise that I gave you when you saw the ladder. You're not going back home, crossing the river, until you and I are straightened out in our relationship. And those fears are now settled. Now, he says, I've seen the face of God. I've seen God face to face. And guess what? After the battle in the morning, he's limping. Now imagine he's going to see Esau. Esau's coming back. Esau's been blessed immensely. Esau is not interested in killing his brother anymore. It's 30 years ago. Okay? But in case there was any, walking up, he's limping. What kind of a threat is limpy? Not too much. And they hold each other and they cry together and, Esau tries to bring him back into his relationship. Jacob's like, no, I'm good. Well, it's kind of wild because God says to Jacob, go make an altar there to the God who appeared to you. And then it says something, put the foreign gods away, purify yourselves, make an altar to me. Okay? And so, here's the deal. Sometimes we carry with us the backup plan. Sometimes we have, I follow the Lord, but I also have a general practitioner. Okay? This is a big deal for me. Can you believe I've gone this long without having a doctor? I feel like I'm failing God. Finally getting a doctor. Maybe I should reconsider before I accept my 3 o'clock appointment. Here's the deal. Joseph gets sold into slavery by Leah's boys. And guess what happens? God uses his son to become the avenue of salvation for the world. A worldwide famine is underway, and it's going to be bad for 7 years. And Joseph was the one God used to feed the world, to save the world. And by the way, he gets to see his son before he dies. So, it's kind of an amazing story because what you sort of realize is, Jacob had a little bit of a tough life. He was second fiddle to his dad. His mom sets him up to, offend his brother, be dishonest with his father, sends him out with her brother where he gets taken advantage of in his career, where he gets messed up in his family life, where he's got all kinds of issues and problems. He's full of fear, but he wrestles with God and prevails. In the fight with God, friends, that's the one arm wrestling match you want to lose. You want God to have, not my will, but thy will. Like Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, when he wrestled with God. And he wrestled with God not because he had to die, not because he was going to consume all the sins of the world. He wrestled with God because Satan was there going, you're not going to be the second person in the Trinity anymore. He messed with him at the core level, just like he messes with us at our core level, our identity, our hopes and dreams, or our disillusionment. Oh, you see that happen to you? That just proves that God's not with you. God doesn't like you. There is no Christian. He'll try to get into your head and mess you up if you let him. And that's where you have to wrestle things out with the Lord. Hand over your fears. Have a sleepless night, whatever it might be. There's a book called Leading with a Limp. And sometimes you might not be limping physically, but you're limping morally, or you're limping spiritually, or you're limping relationally. And whatever that weakness is a place where God can move in your life. That's the place where he meets you to heal all of you through that broken area. Comes a moment, though, when you got to hand it over. You got to have the showdown with God. And he usually sets it up. So it's better to take care of business earlier before the showdown has to occur. Well, what is the name of God's people? Israel. Where does that name come from? Jacob.